We spoke earlier about how this has been a hard year for all of us. And so just as we are all thrilled to be here in person to celebrate excellence and to honor those who are going to change our world, we also know that in the last couple of years, there has been real loss. And as we look around this room and see friends and colleagues, we also know that there are some faces that we miss in this room. Since we last gathered, we have lost colleagues, competitors, and friends, and those who worked tirelessly behind the scenes and who worked at the forefront of journalism. We honor them by continuing to walk in their steps on the paths they forged. And so as we remember them, providing the soundtrack this evening, the jazz singer, pianist, Juno Award winner, and broadcaster, Laila Biali performs this, an original song written for the CJF. It's called Frontlines.
Hi, I'm Laila Biali, and I'm so honored to be offering a song for the In Memoriam segment of the Canadian Journalism Foundation Awards. I was actually going to repurpose a song I had already written, but then I was thinking about the role of journalists in this world, the critical role you've all had, especially during pandemic times and in the age of fake news. I felt compelled to write something new. It's called Frontlines.
You were working on the front lines, bringing us the daily headlines. You were working till the sunrise, every night and every day. You were working on the front lines, looking for the place where truth lies. Even when they said it ain't wise, that's the risk you'd always take. You started off with a high school dream, the smell of ink on paper and a printing machine. You knew how to break a story, tell us how it went. Your byline on the back page and the line from your pen, and then begin again, and then begin again. You left your home, left your comforts behind, lived out of a suitcase for the leads you might find. Driven by the love of country, it's the life you choose. You were risking everything in the selfless pursuit. You were working on the front lines. You were working till the sunrise, moving on before the ink dries. And then begin again, and then begin again. The work begins again.
Well, John Hondrick meant an awful lot to the Canadian Journalism Foundation. He was one of the founders, and in fact, he was the one who championed both the causes and the needs of developing journalism with both his experience and his philanthropy. And it's fair to say, John Hondrick championed the people who needed a little step up to make journalism good. He had a passion for what he called quality journalism. I remember being in a meeting on the board at the Canadian Journalism Foundation when Ivor Shapiro had approached me to say, push the board, ask them to support this new project called J-Talks, because this is the way we can discuss and dissect journalism all across the country. Well, at the meeting, when they did approve J-Talks, our venerable board chair, Tom Kierans, pointed to me and he said, this better not fail because it could bankrupt this organization. I was scared to death. But as I walked out of the meeting, John Hondrich was standing in the doorway. He said, "Let's go to the bar." And downstairs, we had a glass of wine, and he said, "Sally, this is a really good idea, and I will bankroll it until it finds its feet." And isn't that so typical of John Hondrich? He devoted his whole adult life to the craft that you and I are all part of. Remember when photographer-reporter Paul Watson was in Somalia and he got that iconic and disturbing photo in 1993? John Hondrich looked at the photo and he knew here was a mob in Mogadishu dragging the body of an American soldier through the streets. Hondrich knew that could win a Pulitzer Prize, but he also knew the rules. And he knew if that photo didn't appear in an American publication, it couldn't win. So he made it happen. And in 1994, Paul Watson won the Pulitzer Prize. It's the way John Hondrich worked. Remember when the fate of Canada was hanging in the balance during the Quebec referendum? John put out a public dialogue with Alain Dubuc, le rédacteur en chef at La Presse, and between them, they conducted a dialogue of riveting exchanges that showed the two sides of the divide and educated all of us. John Hondrich loved this business. The scoops, the headlines, the rush of the newsroom, and certainly the gossip. They were his lifeblood. You know, at his funeral in February, his son Robin and his daughter Emily said they wondered what would happen after their parents split. And Robin said, "No problem, our dad married the Toronto Star." It's so true. His last words to all of us were at this very event in 2019 when he received the Lifetime Achievement Award. And at that event, he spoke of the crisis in journalism and the link between journalism and democracy. He said, quality journalism is a public service. He said it's up to us to make sure that investigative journalism prospers. That night, he threw all of us the torch. Excellence in journalism is John Hondrich's legacy. We salute all the people that we lost this year and the man who put his whole heart and his generosity into CJF. Here's to John Hondrich.